Hello everyone, my name is Sahil and I'm a real estate consultant. So today I bring you a new topic, a fresh perspective to how to rent your flat. So before moving on, the number one problem currently, the mindset problem we face as flat owners or anyone who wants to rent out is that we're not putting any effort in renting out the flat. What we do is like you get a flat from the builder as it is and you push it out in the market for renting it out, and that doesn't create a desirability factor in the a renter or the tenant. So nobody desires a flat. So the majority of people who are coming to rent it out is not because of desirability, it's because it's a need. Home is a basic need. Anyone who lives in that particular area needs a home. Either they'll own it or either they'll rent it. So people are coming to you to rent your flat is for because it's a need for them, not because your flat is desirable. It has something X factor that it makes extremely rent worthy. It's being rented out because somebody wants to rent it, because somebody wants to have a roof on their head. That's the main reason. So currently what we are having a problem in this is the mindset is extremely flawed, and we are not putting any effort in making that place rentable, desirable, or feel like home. So it might be a flat for you, but it's gonna be a home for someone, and they have to feel that vibe in it, and that's missing from majority of flats. So what happens is this, so the desirability factor is not there, so you won't be able to attract high value clients, which are people who have the money, they're willing to pay high rent, but they want some value out of it, and your flat doesn't offer any value to them. So they will never reach out to you. So you will be away from the people who have the capacity of paying high rent, and the desirability factor is not there, and high value clients will not be associated with you. So let me take an example first. I'll be using some sort of a case study, you can say, and I'll be showing you a fresh perspective how this person was able to rent out their flat for almost 2x the amount of money, right? So there was a society, average society, not okay, decent society, decent kind of gentry, decent kind of flats, layout was decent, construction was decent, the amenities was decent, not extremely fancy, but it had everything, decent amount of level, right? Somewhere around 2200 flats were available in that society. Decent size society, right? Not a big township, but decent size society. Okay, so average rent in that society for a 2 BHK was 18 for a raw flat, 20 something for semi-furnished, which had a couple of light, fan, and basic level of kitchen would work. And somewhere around 22, 24, 25 for a fully furnished, not fully, but extra furnished, close to fully furnished flat. So that was around 24, 25K, right? So the person who bought that flat, what they did was they invested straight ahead when they got the flat from builder, straight ahead 10 lakh rupees in that particular flat. I know it might sound absurd, like why should anyone invest 10 lakh rupees just to get high amount of rent? But the rent they were getting was almost double, which is like 30K thousand per month. So the average of the society was around 20K. Nobody was able to rent it out. I mean, 25 was for furnished one, but that's the peak. Not majority of were in the 20K range, but that person was able to rent it out to 38K, which is extremely high, and the desirability of that flat was so high that they were able to attract high value tenant, and that high value tenant is what creates you an image in the association. I mean, there is a great image of an owner that's to be considered also, right? So this desirability factor, what does it do is, make your flat the hot topic of the market. So the people you want to attract, the tenant you want to attract will be high paying. So they are not someone who will switch every 6 months to 1 year. They are people who want to stay in your flat for longer because they feel the value in your home. They feel a home in your flat. That is the right way to put it. So the chances of them staying there are extremely high. So you won't be struggling with constant tenant changes and new people coming and going, and you're having a lot of problem in it. So you won't be facing that. So moving ahead more onto it. So how did they spend 10 lakh rupees? It may sound in a way foolish might not be the right word, but over expenditure. People, you might think they invested too much. Maybe this would be achieved in 5 lakh rupees or 7 lakh rupees. But the point is they wanted to give the best possible in the market. And that is why, you might be able to save 2 to 3 lakhs extra. You might get that thing done in 7. But the point was, it's not about saving 3 lakh rupees. It was about to create a desirability which will attract high value tenant all the time. This is what is missing in the market. So number one thing they did was they did a beautiful interior work. They hired an interior designer. They got extremely beautiful, very fancy, modern false ceiling for whole house. The builder gave a basic kitchen with closed kitchen. They broke down the walls and created an island style kitchen with fanciest, not the luxurious woodwork in the kitchen, modular kitchen, but the fanciest in the segment. Modular kitchen was there. It was not extremely luxury, not any absurd brand was used, but very attractive, very desirable, but very effective also, but it had appealing factor to it, right? Good quality of furniture were used. Good quality of curtains were there. The quality of sofa was nice, not basic, something you get, basic design you get in the bulk shop, which are extremely cheap, and the quality is cheap, but they had fancy stuff, fancy bed, fancy lights, fancy, furniture in terms of sofa, wardrobes, all those kind of stuff. So they spend nice 4 to 5 lakh amount of money on interior work, especially the woodwork, and fresh paint of aesthetically pleasing paint were done. That had some cost. Fancy stuff like pleasing fans, pleasing lights, they were used. Not just a tube light or LED bulb was used. False ceiling had fancy lights, those kind of lights were used. All the modular things in terms of electronics were there. So either it's a fully automatic machine, 2-door, desirable fridge, washing machine, LED TVs, which were smart TVs actually, which were efficient and effective also, plus chimney, gas stove, all these small things, which is like having a decent level of crockery in there, microwave, not just a 5,000, 6,000 rupees microwave, actually functioning 10,000 rupees microwave was there, mixer, grinder. They created, the point what I'm trying to make is they created a home before renting it out. So it had everything you can think of, everything a middle class family or a middle class home has in it. And all the tenant has to do was to get their clothes, 2 to 3 bags of clothes, and just move in. Everything was there. The quality of bed was so nice. They had side tables, bed was beautiful. The mattresses were also branded. So no 4 or 5,000, dirty, not so comfortable mattresses were used. Actually branded mattresses were put in there, so that factor of luxury not luxury, but a factor of home was there in it. So people didn't have to invest a lot of money, so they were happily paying for it in terms of rental. So I mean, it might not feel at the moment that this is the right approach, but you have to think in the longer run. So what does this does, I mean, what it actually did for the owner, how did it work for him, was that all these things which he invested had bare minimum life of 10 years. So the woodwork, fall ceiling, these kind of things are not getting destroyed in 10 years, right? Major electronics, they had ACs also, forgot about that. So right, ACs also were there. So majority of electronics had a bare minimum life of 10 years. Everything used to work, everything was sorted for 10 years. Just in case something was not, it can easily be repaired or changed if required. But your furnishing, your woodwork, your fall ceiling, the changes in the infrastructure changing. The paint was something which was changed every 5 years. That was one thing. But majority of changes were done. Majority of things were good to go for next 10 years. So for the next 10 years, they were able to invest 10 lakh rupees, right? Everything gonna be sorted for 10 years. So the amount of rent they got was 38k, which is almost double. So annually they were making 4.5 lakhs from that particular apartment, which was approx 2.5 lakhs higher than that other apartments in that society. So a lot of people might think that why should I invest so much of money to get just 2.5 lakh, and in that way I'm able to get my money back in 4 years. And a lot of people might think I'll get less rent and stay for, don't invest so much and get less rent and get that thing sorted. But the point, what the major point is that you are missing out a high value client, which will not come with a basic level of thing. And if they are coming, they won't be paying you the premium. They will be haggling. They will be in a situation, they will be changing the flats frequently. So imagine that this flat, which is one of a kind in that whole society, in that 22 or 2000 homes, it was one of a kind. So the desirability was so high that it didn't got vacant for a single day, even though people moved out of it, but it was constantly occupied by someone or the other. Not even a single month was vacant, which is extremely crucial in renting, because every month your flat is vacant, you are losing money. Because like in this case, little example, if someone leaves your flat and your flat is vacant for 2 months, so if you didn't invest anything, if you are getting 20k rent, you are losing 40k rent for 2 months, and that's not going to come to you because that time is gone, right? But the desirability of that flat is so high because there is no competition in the market. There was no flat available in that society which is compared to, on par with this one. So it was never vacant. So you were always in that cash flow cycle. You never disrupted that money problem. Second thing is the rental appreciation you get annually is like 10%, which was higher in this case because the appreciation is also almost 50% higher, which means the amount you invested, which was 10 lakh rupees, is gonna get recovered more faster, which is like in 3.5 years you're gonna get that 10 lakh rupees back, and you're gonna enjoy that 7 years of premium. Every year your rent is increasing by 10%. There might be some changes, there might be some replacement or repair work, which is somewhat understandable, but you're able to get that first investment of 10 lakh rupees in 3 years, less than 4 years, right? Say the money invested, you got that back in, if you take the extra amount only, got that back in 3.5 years. And for the next coming years, which is like 3 to 7 years more, 3 to 7 years, you're gonna get the premiumness. And in the seventh year, you have to invest some, 1 lakh rupees more to in repairing and fixing anything, or upgrading your electronics, furniture, whatever it is. Then you're still gonna be in a better position, because you're gonna make that money instantly. Because now after 5 years, the price of your 38k rent won't be 30k, it will be close to 80k, because the rental cycle, 7 year cycles plays, and your rent gets almost double and more, and the desirability makes it always occupied. So you create a atmosphere where you are the talk of the town in the renting department. Most of the time what happened was, the person who was living there, they only referred their friends to come and live in that place, because they were moving somewhere else, they were moving to a different city, or whatever the case for with them. They recommended to their friends that you can live here. The owner is chill, the owner is nice, the facilities are crazily good, you don't have to, there is a quality of life living in it, and that attracted more people. This allowed the owner to charge more rent, so that person was able to increase that rent up to 50k in almost 2 years amount of time, which is generally not possible through 10% cycle. It was 50k rent, and later it was another story. So the point with this story I made is, to get high value tenant, you have to have investment in your flat. You cannot just put a raw thing out there and expect to get a premium, right? So there are two more things which the owner did right. One is he marketed to the right audience. Second thing is how he was able to create that atmosphere, how he was able to get the right broker and get the right tenant and get the right number. So that is also in the play. So this thing needs to be covered. So I am hosting a webinar on 30th March on how to rent it. It's a paid webinar. If you're interested, you can fill the link in the description, and I can teach you all the tips and tricks of the mindset of how to rent, of the opportunities out there in the market, what kind of tenant you have to look before, how to attract high value tenant, how to market your flat, how to do everything right. So not just investing in your flat, getting the craziest or beautiful furnishing or aesthetically pleasing paints or any other things. These are important, but how to market it, that's more important. How to connect with the right broker, that's extremely important. How to be the talk of the town in terms of owners, in terms of your flat should be talk of town. How that desirability factor, to how you can achieve that desirability factor, I will be teaching all these things. There is a very big segment or a problem in the renting era, which majority of big brands who are there in property management, which are like Nestaway, Zolo, in your Zoho, all those kind of stuff. These are there in the market and are not able to cater to an audience which is high paying audience. They need something great for them to live, but they're not being touched by those industry. And this knowledge is known by a lot of brokers. They are actually applying it, and they are guiding their regular clients how to get that rent. I can teach you all this, and I will be teaching you all this in the paid webinar. I hope to see you all there. I hope you like this video and you find it informative. So Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.